Hey guys, so I've been around the Facebook group for Onefinity CNC users. Here lately, I've noticed that there were a lot of new users posting, needing help here and there. I saw where a person was trying to carve, and what they posted was that they were stumped because they were able to import the file with no issues. They were able to reference the machine with no issues, but when they were prepared to run the machine, when they started the machine would just sit as if it was frozen up and wouldn't do anything. And I saw the post and I asked, are there any error messages? And the user responded no, and that's why they were puzzled. There's no error messages. So I immediately had my own suspicions, and I asked if they would like to shoot their G-code and VCarve file. They're using VCarve Pro, and I noticed that there were a couple of people that were attempting to help, and that's good to try to help, but they were giving some advice that really wasn't good advice without troubleshooting. And a couple of people told the person that they would cycle the power, and if it acted the same way, that they would send the controller back to Onefinity because they suspected the controller was bad. And of course, I reached out to the person and asked them, hey, you're able to jog and home this machine and everything, right, with no issues? And of course, the person said yes. And I said, okay, well, send me your G-code and I'll take a look at it. I think I can help you out. So anyway, I was able to help them, and I asked if he would give me permission to use this code. I know it's generated by VCarve, so I mean, it's not like it's an intellectual property issue or anything like that, but just a common courtesy and respect. I don't want to use anybody's work at all without their permission. And anyway, the person told me they would actually appreciate it because it would be an opportunity for them. They wanted to understand how the problem was created. And so anyway, let's take a look at this. I'm trying to keep this video as short as I possibly can. All right, so what we're looking at here is we are looking at G-code that was generated by VCarve Pro. And I want to tell you, first off, if you're watching this video, this T6 and all these G-codes here, if you don't know what this is, or you're not fairly familiar with it at this point, please go watch my videos. Watch my G-code video. In my G-code video, I step through and explain every one of these G-codes. But for time being, watch this video so you can understand what happened here, because this could happen to you, especially if you're a new user. It can happen to anyone. It's just people that have already experienced similar things, or have any, especially industrial experience, where we kind of know what to look for. But you will learn that over time. With your experience, you'll get better at this. So don't throw in the towel. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the problem. So the person described, they start the machine, there's no motion, no errors, okay? So immediately, the first thing that tells me to look for is the machine actually moving? And is the machine being told to move in extremely small increments, or at an extremely slow feed rate? And as it turns out, that's exactly what happened. Now I want to show you something. I'm going to highlight these codes so you know what I'm referencing. All right, so this G0 rapid traverse that's getting us set up and moving the Z 200 thousandths of an inch, or 0.2 inches, however you want to refer to it, almost 1/4 of an inch above the workpiece. And then we have a G1, which is a linear move, and this G1 motion is a linear motion for working. Okay, so this means that your machine's expecting your router or spindle. So whatever your tool is, your machine expects to accommodate your tool when it's executing this command to move in this linear motion. Now, if you look here, we have this F, and that F is a feed rate. Every one of these G1s has to have a feed rate. If it doesn't have a feed rate, the machine automatically uses the last feed rate that was referenced. So whichever feed rate that was loaded last, this F0.1, that is the feed rate all the way through here, all the way down until we hit this F120. Now let me explain to you what this is. Okay, let me explain to you what this is. So this if I look at this G20 here, this G20 tells me that the operator of this machine is running this machine in imperial mode, which means they are using inches. Okay, now, so if you look, we are commanding a feed rate of 0.1, and that's inches per minute. So we divide that by 60. We're literally we're moving this machine 1.67 thousandths of an inch per second. You know, that's very difficult to see with the human eye. And I do want to mention this for anybody that has any similar issue in the future. Before you open your G code, okay, while you're at the machine, when you have odd situations like this, if the machine will jog, okay, and the machine will home, you know the controller is not frozen, okay? You should, when you go to execute this, if it looks like the machine is not doing anything, there are a few different things like a dwell, a programmed dwell can cause it. This M0 command, of course, you should see a message, but if there's nothing here, you won't see a message. And then the other is that the machine's actually moving, but it's just moving incredibly slow. So go to your position screen and look and see if any of your axes is actually moving. You know, it may be incrementing or decrementing extremely small motions, okay? But if this user had actually looked at the position screen and just paid close attention to it for about 30 seconds to a minute, they actually would have seen that the machine really was moving. It was doing exactly what it was told to do. Okay, so there are a couple of things that we can look at here. Okay, so for one, this is a ramp. Okay, this is a ramp. And I'm going to tell you now how I know it's a ramp. And if you'll watch my other videos, you'll see thorough explanations of this. But for the sake of this video and the purpose of this video, we are going to zoom through this, and I'm just going to give a brief explanation. When you see this linear motion and you see this Z decrementing in this really small, these really small steps. Like, see this is barely over an eighth of an inch. And then we change feed rates. And if you look, you see more motion commands with no Z-axis movement. So that tells me right away that all of this code here, every bit of this is a ramp, okay, or a plunge, ramp, plunge, lead in, okay? That's what you're going to be looking at for this. Now, I corrected this and sent it back to the user, and he was able to carve his piece. But I want to show you, if you'll download Notepad++, if you haven't already done so, and install it, it's free, and I highly recommend that you do so. It's very useful for this kind of thing. We have these feed rates that we know are going to be wrong everywhere we're plunging, okay? So what we can do is we can say search, and we're going to go to replace. And we know that we're looking at a feed rate F0.1. So we can highlight this, copy it, and we can paste it. Hit Control V or just right click and paste. We want to replace every F0.1. I don't know what your bit is that you're using when this happens. You should look at your bit. Or if you already know what bit you're using and you know what it can plunge or ramp at. In this particular case, the user requested 30 inches per minute, or actually I recommended 30 inches per minute, and they agreed. So we're going to replace, and we're going to say replace all. replace all 4 occurrences or replace in the entire file. Okay, so we're done. All we have to do here is hit File, Save, and we're done. And you could import that back into the machine. And when you touch off on your machine, you hit cycle start, it's going to go do the plunge at 30 inches per minute. And once it gets to your depth of 0.0, basically 188 thousandths of an inch, the fade rate is going to go up to 120, and this thing's going to carve this. Okay. All right. So while we're here though, this user wanted to understand how it happened. So this is the VCarve file. Okay, now we're going to open our toolpaths here, and this inside heart 1/4 inch bullnose, this is the toolpath where this issue occurred. So we're going to double click on this to open that toolpath. Now here's what I want you to notice. Okay, so it's a pocket toolpath, and we're going to cut 3/4 of an inch, right? The tool is a 1/4 inch ball nose bit. Okay, now I want you to pay attention to something. If this bit is not here, if there's nothing here for a bit, when you hit select, you can actually add a tool from your tool database. And when you add that tool from your tool database, and I know most of you already done this several times, you will notice that you will have all these parameters for your tool. Okay, but here's something that especially new people may not know. VCarve added another feature so that if you're using that tool and you're using it in a special instance, you can edit the tool for that instance only, and it won't change your tool database. Okay, so it won't mess up the rest of your carves and stuff you do in the future. So we highlight this, and how you do that is you highlight your tool and you go to edit. So you edit here instead of in the tool database. Okay, now once I hit this edit button, I want you to notice something down here. The plunge rate is set for 0.1. So the feed rate was set from this. So what had to have happened is someone inadvertently changed the plunge rate in this instance, and they accidentally typed in 0.1, or somehow they put 0.1 in here, but that caused the problem. Now, for the person that sent me this, just tell you, you actually could change this plunge rate right here and hit OK. Like you could change this to that 30 inches per minute, and you could hit OK. And if you were to recalculate your tool paths really quickly, you don't have to change anything else. When you save this tool path, that what we did with Notepad++ will be done. You will plunge at 30 inches per minute, and you will carve at 120 inches per minute. So anyway, that's basically it. And again, I just wanted to give back to the community and help anybody that may have an issue with this, that's ever seen it or just wants to know how to find their way around. I will ask you, if you enjoy this video and you want to see more content like this, shoot me a message if you have a problem, either from the group page, or look me up on Facebook and send me a message. Now it may be a couple, 3 or 4 hours before I can respond to you, but go ahead, feel free to shoot me a message. But anyway, if you like what you see, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please share my videos. Thanks a lot. God bless, and peace.